Hi, I'm Richard from Seaskin Drysuits. Today I'm going to show you how to adjust the seals on a dry suit. I'll start with latex necks. Latex necks commonly come, well, as supplied by us, in three sizes: medium, large, small and extra small. The first stage, if you get a suit that you feel the neck is too tight on, is try it, dive it. Don't start cutting, adjusting until you've dived it, unless the seal is really tight. Now obviously you've got to make a judgment here. An excessively over tight neck seal can restrict the blood flow to the neck, affect breathing and nerve function, and can lead to obviously very serious problems. But if it just feels a bit tight, I would try it, because your neck size will change from the comfort of your own warm home to when you're actually out on a dive site. But after you've tried it and think it's still too tight, you can, first of all, the first adjustment you can make is stretch it. Now, imagine this is on a dry suit itself. So if I take a bucket, as in here, you can simply, with the suit actually in it, stretch it over the bucket and just leave it like that for a few days or overnight, and carefully take it off and see if it's actually improved the fit. It'll stretch it out a little bit, not a great deal. So if that hasn't worked, or you know that you're not a standard size and need to trim your suit, the way to go about it is by removing the rings on the top from the top edge of the seal. As you can see, hopefully you can see there, I'm going to show you on this silicone seal actually that's a little bit more obvious. There are rings here, and if we remove these rings, effectively the opening here gets larger as we trim down ring by ring. So that's what we're going to demonstrate here. Nothing really to be worried about. All you need is a neck seal that's too tight, like this one here, and a decent pair of scissors. So what you need to do is pick a line, and I recommend taking off, only just take off one ring at a time. So with a good pair of scissors, go in at an oblique angle, and nice confident scissor strokes round the neck. Because what you don't want to leave is a jagged edge or a nick in the latex that could be the start of a rip. So it doesn't matter if it's a little bit wavy, that doesn't really matter. It's about not leaving any cuts down into the latex. So I've done one there. Maybe you can just see that, pick that up. If you've got one of those, so that's the bit I've just removed, you can just scoop it out. So just cut a little bit there, just very minimally. Again, pull it sort of tight, not really tight, and remove it like that. And give it an inspect, make sure you haven't left any jagged edges, and give it a really good pull. And if that doesn't break it, then pulling it over your head is not going to break it. Okay, so that's how you trim down a latex seal. Go one at a time, maybe just try it. Better to try it on a dive, and then if it's still too tight, take another ring off. Always remember, you can take rings off, but you can't put them back on. So just steady away, just go down a ring at a time. If you're fitting a new neck seal to your suit, it's easier to do it and keep trying it on before you actually glue it to the suit. So there's a little tip. Do your adjustments while you can easily try the set neck seal on and off when it's off the suit, then do the gluing process onto the suit. So that's how we adjust latex neck seals. Same principle applies to latex cuff seals, but only of the cone type. See, there's a difference in those two shapes there. One's a bottle and one's a cone. The cone has got the ridges in it, and you can remove rings off the end to make the cone effectively bigger. This is a bottle. Now you see there's a much wider sealing area. That's the bit that actually seals on your wrist, and all you're doing is shortening the sealing area, so it doesn't improve the fit any by removing anything off the end. So these are adjustable. These are not for things. Only by stretching. You can get a little bit by putting those over a can of Coca-Cola or something like that. That can help. That can help by stretching those out. Okay. Make sure if you get say a second-hand dry suit, or you're borrowing a suit, that it's don't get confused between an uncomfortable seal and a seal that's too tight. So if it's old and if it's crusty and sticky from salt from the last dive last weekend, then it will feel uncomfortable and irritate the skin. Do keep your seals in good condition. Rinse them in fresh water, dry them, and then put some French chalk, some talc on them, so they're nice and clean and dry for the next time you put them on, and they won't irritate your skin so much. Unfortunately, if you use creams on your neck or anything like that, if you've got an irritation, they will really hasten the degradation of the latex. So the seal will actually rot with many skincare products, including, unfortunately, sunblock and sun cream will have a detrimental effect on the latex itself. It commonly goes black, sticky, gooey, and you know once it's done that, the seal won't last long after that. Okay, so that's latex seals. Same principles apply for the Cytec Silflex seals. You've got the rings there, as I've already shown you, and there's the wrist seal with the rings. Because these are so fantastically stretchy and comfortable to wear, much stretchier than latex, people don't tend to trim those so much, but the principle's the same. And also you've got the luxury, you don't have to do it while it's fitted to the suit. You just remove it, pop it off the suit, trim it, pop it back on the suit, so you've got a good thing going there. So that's latex and silicone seals. Getting on to neoprene seals. They can't generally be made larger by trimming, except by doing the stretching method. So you can put a bucket in there, and they do respond quite well to that. So pull them on a suitable object, a can, 5-litre can of paint or something like that will increase the size of the neck, and leave it sitting in there for a few days. That will help. What you can do on a latex neck is we make them quite long in the neck because they're designed to be inverted when you're actually wearing them. So this part is actually against your skin, and this area here is what's sealing the against your skin and keeping the water out. If you find this is too long, I say when you turn it in it's still too long, you can trim a band off the top of the neck. That's relatively easily done. What we would recommend is just taking an even 10 or 15 millimeters off. Again, just do it in increments, so you can do it quite slowly. Got a little marker here. I'm going to just quickly whiz around. That's just a guide for me to go around. You notice the top of the neck is profiled. It's lower at the front and lower at the back. Don't just chop straight across, because that'll decrease the efficiency of the seal. Doing this quite quickly. You probably do this a little bit more carefully at home. Again, quick chalk marks will guide you. And again, go it in an oblique angle and cut an even amount all the way around. No problems cutting straight through the seam on these neoprene suits. You can still see that. See what I'm doing there? And up on the back. I'm keeping camera, it's a little tricky. There we go. We trimmed a nice even band off the top of your neck seal. So when you invert that, it won't go quite so far down your neck, and you may find that improves the fit for you. Okay, so that's what you can do on neoprene neck seals. With neoprene wrist seals, your only thing you can do really is try and stretch them out a little bit. Otherwise, you have to have them replaced by preferably a sort of professional dry suit repairers. Okay, okay, so that's what you do if your seals are too tight for you, making them bigger. What if your seals are already too big for you? The only real option, apart from getting the correct seals fitted in the first place, or when you replace the seals, getting the right seals fitted, is to use a set of wrist grey seal greys. These are just neoprene sleeves that are made of a special neoprene that are rubber on both sides. And what you simply do with these is, before you put your sleeves, your top on your dry suit, is slide those onto your wrists. You can see they're sitting there, it's in that area where on your wrist. So I'll just pull a seal on. So when you pull the dry suit on, the seal actually sits on the wrist grey. A little bit of adjustment. There we go. Hopefully you can see the contrasting colours there. So the seal is sitting on the wrist grey, and basically it's just bulking up your wrist size so it gets a better fit there. These can also work well if you tend to get a lot of problems of water coming down due to bridging on the tendon there, and they can fill that gap, and they can help in that respect as well. If you do suffer with bridging, the first thing to try is adjusting where your seal sits. So instead of in that area here where your tendons are most prominent, have the seal fitting here or here. So instead of, that's your bridging zone there, and maybe you can just see there, push the seal a little bit further onto your hand like that, or pull it up slightly up your arm so it's just there, and that can stop a lot of that problems with bridging. So same with the neck seal, pull that over your head so that sits on in your neck position, and the seal will go over the top. And the neck grey will be poking out the top slightly. So kind of in that kind of fashion there. So that's wrist and neck greys to bulk out the seals. So that's it, there you go. That's some information hopefully you found useful on how to adjust seals on your dry suit. Hope you found it useful. If you have, like the video, and if you've got any other questions, don't hesitate to ring us here at Seaskin Drysuits.